Good people of planet Earth, it is good to be with you, Mondion Astral Oracles. Thank you for being here. It's the full moon. I wanted to do this update earlier, and I've had a lot of my plate, and so I didn't get around to it. But as I was standing on an island in a fjord today and seeing how the sun and the moon were completely opposite to each other and the same size as the sun was setting on one side and the moon had already gone up, I felt like I couldn't miss out on doing an Arcturian energy update. And also I wanted to call in Umblam and the council to just get some information on what's going on with the energies, because at least a lot of changes are happening in my own life. And so today I began my first day at a new gig as a, is that a living assistant? I think that might be the expression, but assisting a lady in a wheelchair, and she's a very lovely person, it seems. And it's interesting to be engaged in the world in that sense. And of course it offers well, some sort of grounding responsibility, and of course there's a deep meaning and investment in sort of very mundane or daily matters to tend to someone's basic needs and make their day work. So it's been interesting to be in that role today. And of course also, if you have a job as a wage earner in Denmark, you probably have one of the cushiest lives that human beings have ever managed to create for themselves. So in that sense, I'm also quite grateful that I get to worry a little less about practical situations and finances and stuff. And at the same time, I also get to, of course, then just invest a lot of creative energy in this without like worrying about where it will take me, or whether or not sessions turn up at a level where I can make a living off them, and all that is good. And I'm looking forward to both like juggling the heavens and the earth at the same time, and trying to keep if not a foot in both, then a head in one, and both feet on the other, and hopefully that will work out well. So I don't suppose it will actually influence what I'm doing over here too much, but we'll see. So that was also just to let you know what's going on with me, and I feel like the energies are very new in 2022. For me personally, and for the collective, like there are these brand new vistas, and it's interesting what's upon us, and well, what are these times of change that we're living in. And it's wonderful to have these galactic bodies that we can consult on these matters. So without further ado, I will bring in Umblam and the ninth dimensional Arcturian council, and much love to you guys. Yes, hello, greetings and blessings to you, dear people of Earth. I am Umblam of the Arcturian Council, bringing you the blessings and the love of the Arcturian Council, as well as all your galactic brethren, greeting you. Welcome in these new times of change. And so, is this not an old message you're thinking? I hear you thinking. That is this not what we have been telling you all along, that this is the new age, a new time is upon you, a new age is dawning, and you must prepare as you move into this other stage of human development that you are all collectively partaking in as individuals. But notice what has gone on here, what has vanished, because this is often how you recognize that you are in a novel situation. It's not necessarily that things around you are completely alien. It's rather than that what was known has vanished behind you, and now you're in this process of discovery. And much of what you are doing in your lives, you may experience at this moment, is that you are overlapping or superimposing modes of interpretation, ideas about who you are and what is going on that do not necessarily fit your situation anymore, but the changes you have undergone them so rapidly. These transformations have been so drastic that you have not been able to fully conceptualize the movement that you have gone through, and you have not been able to develop, let's say, the instruments, routines, and rituals necessary to be able to ground yourself into these new realities. So, to make a straightforward example for you to understand this, notice that within the last decade, your society, your civilization, has undergone a radical transformation in the way it communicates. And, well, wherever you go on the planet, you tend to see people with their eyes and thumbs glued to this infinite scroll that takes place on these devices that you carry around. This has been a massive change in the way you appreciate reality, information, relationships. All these things have undergone dramatic changes in these very few years. And yet, now many of you are also discovering that it is necessary to develop even more conscious ways of living, because you are faced with this huge potential of information, of stimulation, of connection, and possibly of addiction. That is, it becomes through this stirring of human circumstances, through the falling away of the ways you were living and mapping the world before, you are now in a completely altered, stirred, slightly hysteric situation as a collective. And, well, notice how hysteria is actually a type of religious impulse. It is connected to other sensations such as mania or rapture. These are different positions in the same vibration of losing yourself, we could say. And this hysteria, the way that you have traditionally dealt with it, these forms of mania or rapture, is that you create rituals, systems, meaningful ways of living and interpreting your lives. This is indeed the basic function of the congregation and the liturgy. We use these terms to not necessarily then add on the concept of the church, this more hierarchical orchestration of it. But those of you who are interacting with this message will realize that there has been a stirring within your lives that has taken place on, well, in many ways, perhaps mostly an intellectual and a spiritual level. And where you are now is that the body is catching up to this experience. But notice then what happens when your consciousness has grown greater than the body. That is, then you feel the body as slightly cumbersome, tired, almost prison-like in the way it weighs you down and forces you to be in the world and not flutter around in these higher ethers. And at the same time, it is this slipping into something uncomfortable that is actually the gift that you are learning to embrace. So when you move beyond the qualities of pleasurable or painful, of good and evil, you arrive at a higher state of perception, which is actually a higher level of good, we could say. And this type of good, it will of course also begin to unfold other triangulations within it, but this type of good is one that recognizes the value of limitation, because in limitation you find that creation is possible without restrictions and borders to guard the expansive, creative, explosive impulse within human beings. You would not be able to play these meaningful games that you call art, or that you call culture, that you call society. Even friendship is also a type of constriction of energies into a meaningful circuitry of open-hearted exchange. This is a very helpful way to think of your relationship to the future around this full moon, your relationship to these passing energies. Move into them as you do into a relationship, into a marriage. You are wedded to existence, you are wedded to your body, and you are wedded to your breath and to sensation. And these things, they may seem restrictive, but it is within this meaningful bond, this pact you have made with your being. You're saying yes to you being alive at this moment, that you fully embrace the gifts that are on offer to you in life. Because, and we love you dearly, as you say, as we remind you when we put forward this slightly scolding message, and that is, dear human beings, you have burnt your fingers so much on reality and through incarnations that you do not dare to reach out and open the gifts that we are handing to you as assistance to your higher self. These gifts, they come with that certain element of tension, that element of risk. Does it contain mousetraps, or is it a new contraption for you to open new parts of reality with? The gifts are flowing in at this moment. Many of you are being granted either new talents, or you are, to be more specific, experiencing a clearer definition of your skill. What is your limitations in the healing arts, for instance? And through realizing this, you discover exactly where your talent are. Because so few people are, though they may enjoy painting, so few people are both painters, composers, and sculptors. Often they will excel at one, maybe they will experiment with others, but rarely it is the case that people have gifts even within all categories of a certain field of expression, and therefore find your genre of expression within the spiritual and discover how this links your body to your eternal being, to your soul mission. This moon, this wolf moon, this howling moon of pale and ghostly energy, it allows for the ghosts to pass up back into the light, and it allows for spirits to come down here and dwell beside you as they assist you in this merging of layers, this intertwining of your different codes and purposes into one singular strain of destiny. Therefore, I, Umblam of the Arcturian Council, I transmit deep love to you from me, from all of the Arcturian Council, from your galactic brethren, and from the heavens on high. We greet you, we love you, we thank you,